Thanks for joining us this morning at St George's Park ahead of the April squad announcement. Anton, we'll begin with you.
Nice to see you. Look, first off, just how happy, how relieved are you that Lee Williamson is back in the squad and you might actually get to see her play again?
Yeah, no, of course I'm very happy. Squad looks good. Many players are available. Unfortunately, Millie's not available, but Leah is available again, and I'm looking forward to work with her again.
How frustrated was she when she couldn't be part of the last, when she had to pull out of the last squad?
Yeah, we all didn't expect that one, and she the least. So that was a hard one to take, for a big disappointment for her, for us too. But of course, then you have to take it and get back in playing games. I think she recovered really well, and it didn't take too long, so that was good. And now she's getting into rhythm. Of course, she didn't play that many games yet, but she's getting there and she needs the minutes now.
What about Millie? Because you said in the last camp you hope to have her back now.
Yeah.
She's still not here. Are you concerned about how long her injury's taking?
Well, concerned, a little disappointed, of course. We all hoped that went a little bit quicker, but she's taking her time and wants to do the right thing to get back and don't get the setbacks again. And so she needed a little more time. She needed do a little more work in the gym to get everything stronger, and that takes a little more time. So hopefully, well, that's what Emma Hayes said too. Hopefully she'll be back after the international break, but she's doing responsible things.
You've picked a very settled squad, but one player that has been playing probably the best they have during their career is Jess Park. How impressed have you been with her this season, and how close is she to breaking into the starting 11?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's enjoying her game. I think she plays with a lot of joy and with a lot of freedom. She has had a lot of patience. Over the last years, she made some choices. She went to Everton, got them in, came back, and then needed a little more patience too, but was ready to start when, unfortunately, Jill Roy got injured. And I think she's doing a good job. And as we see many players on that position who are doing a good job, so the competition for that position is really high, and which is good for the team.
Today is a meeting of following the Karen Carney sort of recommendations. I'm just wondering, they were all basically trying to get everybody working towards the growth of the women's game. Are you happy with the pace in which sort of the women's game is developing, and what would you like to sort of see come out of all this?
Yeah, there are many discussions around this, of course. Lots of things that will be talked about. I think the game has grown really, really quickly, as we say. What I just hope all the time, which is just a part, that the technical part keeps growing together with the commercial marketing part, and that goes all together. When we would go too fast with one part, then we might miss some things, and that will not be good for the game. And it's very important to stay connected. In the FA, stay connected with all the departments, that we do things together, we grow the game together, and we make when important decisions are made, that the right people are in the room, that we know what the consequences of decisions are, and understand what will happen then, and that we'll all come back, and what happens on the pitch will be beneficial for the players.
Finally, we've talked a lot about player welfare, about the games in June, the games in July. What was your reaction when you found out Arsenal were going to go on a tour at the end of the season, a week before the international break?
Yeah. Well, I think we have, with the calendar, of course, we've talked about that a lot. The windows, the congested schedule, and those are a lot of challenges for the players and for us too. So we're now working towards the summer. We have very good conversations with the clubs. I was surprised about that trip, but overall, in general, I think at that period, so the competitions finish, unless you play the Champions League final, but otherwise the most competition, and Spain doesn't, but let's talk about England. The competition finishes at the end of May, then there's 1 week in between, and then we go into the international break. I think for all the players, with already the complicated calendar, it's not good for them to go to the other side of the world, very short term, not having the time to adapt and play a game and come back and go, for us, to 2 games in France, home and away. So, but I would say that's not only for the English players, it's for every European player that goes into the qualifiers. That's a thing that will be hard for them to take and to perform at the highest level.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. We'll go to Joe. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina.
Hi.
Just to pick up on that point, did you have a conversation with Arsenal when that was announced and tell them your concerns about some of the England players potentially travelling to the other side of the world?
Well, we had conversations already with Arsenal about the summer, and those have been very good conversations. We're on the same page, and of course we all think about how to get players fit and fresh to compete, but also give them rest in this complex calendar. I heard later on from that, so of course I'm in contact with Jonas all the time. That's Jonas and I, of course we talk about players, so I also spoke about these concerns. They haven't announced yet with who is going, who's not. I think in general, everyone who plays competitive games in whoever club would go or team would go all the way to the other side of the world, I think that's hard to take for players in that period and then going into a qualifiers.
When it comes to England, obviously the new kit was launched last week. There was a lot of debate in particular about the colour of the cross on the back of the shirt. Just wanted your opinions on the new kits, and do you have an opinion on the colour of the cross on the back of the shirt?
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussions around that, I know. I think the kit is very, very beautiful. It looks really good. I always really like the crest, the beautiful one, and of course we have the white one, so I would like to keep it with that to get more discussions on that. I'm happy with that. We're playing in it. There's some new things in the kit that will help performance-wise, which I like. So I'm looking forward to see the team in the kit.
What things in the kit will help performance-wise?
Yeah, well, it's about sweat things, about the form. I don't know how to say that in English, but how the kit will when you start performing and you start sweating and these things. It seems to be better. We'll figure out.
Very good. Due to situations in the WSL last week or in the last couple of weeks, we've, in the press conferences, spoke to every WSL manager on player-coach relationships. I was wondering if I could get your thoughts on the situation, please.
Yeah, I think player-coach relations are very inappropriate. I think we should not accept that. That's not healthy. That's basically what it is. I think in our environment, it's a professional environment. It's all about performing, and it should always be safe. And then, things can happen, but it's inappropriate, and we all should be very aware of that.
At the moment, it feels like clubs are left to police their own situations. Should there be a blanket ban that the FA implement or NUCO implements going forwards?
Yeah, well, I think it is common sense. We all know that if we are in this environment, that is really inappropriate. And I think if we all take our responsibility, then things wouldn't happen. But when it happens too often, then you need regulations. So I'll leave that up to the other ones. I just hope in every environment I work in, that's and how we work, and we always talk about safe environments. This is one of the things that should be really safe, and that everyone's really aware and of the responsibility we have.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Joe. We'll go to Kit. Thanks, Kit.
Hi, Sarina. Hope you're well. Can I just first ask, obviously, Leah's come back in and therefore someone has to drop out, which was Maya. Have you spoken to her, or just what was the thinking behind Maya being the one that dropped out of the squad?
Yeah, of course I've spoken to her. Leah's back in. We talked to about the defensive line. Some of the players can play centre back. Some of the players can play full back. And then you look at the competition and what you can do starting, what you can do when we have to sub, what we can do when we need a scenario. And then I came to this squad, and that unfortunately Maya dropped out of it.
And we talked about the situation with Arsenal's game after the season and the conversations you've had with them. More generally speaking, with your relationship with the clubs, are you happy with your relationship with them and the level of cooperation at the moment?
Yeah, I'm very happy.
Okay.
We've started first of all, we are in contact with the club. So I'm in contact with the coaches all the time, before camp, after camp, talk about players. That's the same with our medical staff, physical staff. I mean, there is some sports psychology. And also what we did now, we had conversations with clubs, the wider group, to discuss the calendar or discuss the programming for this year, and also the summer challenges we had. These conversations are ongoing, but we started in January, and we had very good conversations. We totally understand each other, and and we also understand that it's a challenge. So I'm happy with the collaboration, with the way we spoke with each other and the tone, and I think that is really good.
Yeah, and you mentioned the summer there and the July internationals. Obviously, there's been some reports about the England players going to be in camp for a fair few weeks before that. Just how much contact there been with clubs over that, and just where are you at with those plans?
We're in a very good place with that, and everyone knows what we want to do. Like, we all want the players to be fit, to be fresh, to take some time off, of course, but it's mainly an in-season break. And after that, for the English players, there will be depending on when you start the Women's Super or the Champions League, round 1 or round 2, but the Women's Super League starts a little later. So every club that we are in contact with that have international players is really aware what we want to do, and how and why, because you can't just say in July or June you play international games and then you have a little more than 5 weeks and don't do anything and then play Sweden and Ireland. That's impossible to perform then. So everyone acknowledges that too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Kit. We'll go to Tom.
Thank you. Hi, Sarina. Just to
Hi.
follow on from that, the Guardian specifically reported that they believed you were doing a 3-week build-up to the July camp. Is there anything you can tell us on that? Is that your plan to do 3 weeks before the match against Sweden and Ireland?
Well, there's 5 weeks. What we want to do is give some rest, and we're still in contact with the clubs. So we're in the final things with the club. So I can't be really specific, but it's not a full 3 week. It's similar as we did before the Euros and we did before the World Cup, and give them some proper time off too. And that's all in contact with the clubs.
And so, do you mean in terms of like weekends where they would go back at weekends to be with their family and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And the Guardian also said in that report that according to their sources, the clubs are really angry.
Yeah.
About that.
I was surprised about that.
Yeah, well,
they're
I just
not
wanted to give you
angry.
a chance to respond to that. Yeah.
Yeah, not in our the conversation we have. There's no anger at all. There's just very good conversation. So to be honest, I don't know where that comes from, but the clubs are not angry with us, and we are not angry with the clubs.
And staying on clubs, can I follow up on the question about Arsenal and Melbourne? Do you feel that if there were any England players that you specifically didn't want to travel to Melbourne for that game, do you feel that message would be heard, and that if you were to say to Jonas, I don't want X player to go, that you feel that they would be left behind?
Well, I think this is a matter of Arsenal, and of course, the last thing I will do is dictate the club or dictate the coach. That's not my job, and that's not what I want to do. I think this is a wider thing, and Arsenal hasn't announced the team yet, so I don't know. I don't know who are going, but I think this is like I'm the England coach, but there's a wider. If clubs, so let's take away Arsenal. If a club would go and you have all international players from different countries, then I think for all these players who are playing competitive games in June with their country, that will be a hard one to take.
Yeah, and I suppose we're having this conversation because of the July fixtures. And I think speaking yesterday or maybe this morning, Andres Juncker described that the July window as just chaos. I mean, how do you feel about the schedule for July with those competitive games?
Yeah, well, we of course we had a similar problem last year. This ongoing, we are in conversations as we have been all the time with UEFA and FIFA, and we tell the problems we have with a calendar like this, and I just really hope, we all hope that this is going to be solved in the future. In the moment now, in short term, we have to solve it together with the clubs and do what's best for the players, and to manage them, to give them some time off, and also to get them ready for those fixtures. And then some players go straight into the Olympics, so where's their rest? And in the calendar, we need some rest. Like, we need some rest for the players to decompress and to get ready for the new season. And in the future, I hope we can arrange that, because the game is growing and it's really exciting. We have very competitive games, and we all enjoy that. But with the congestion of the calendar and the competitive games, you need to build in rest too and recovery time.
Thank you very much.
Sarina.
Hi.
It's another squad where Nikita Paris and Bethany England haven't made it. I just wondered if it was kind of a case of close but not quite close enough, or where are we at with those players?
Yeah, they're not in. I think, of course, they're very good players. But if you look at the squad and you look at the competition up front, that's so tight and so competitive that I have to make choice. And I'm not going to bring in like 5 centre forwards who can. Some of them can also play on the side. So I have to make those decisions, and this is what the decisions are.
Great. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks so much, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you. And good luck tonight.